Welcome back to another episode of Who Should You Choose? I'm late. I apologize. I legitimately spent 2 full days getting my strategies video done. It took me 15 hours probably to get the clips, the edits, the everything. I put a lot of time into it. So for everyone that was asking about my strategies video, I just bared down and got it finished. So I appreciate that. If you want to go check it out, be my guest. I would love that. Let me know if it helps you or not, but it is now up on the channel. But we've got questions to answer from the last episode, and all the Nighthawks out there are going to get a chance at it. So everything's back to normal. So tomorrow morning, throughout the week, everything you should get Who Should You Choose around lunchtime. So here we go. Let's take a look at the questions that we had from last that I went and I kind of bookmarked. All right, so we'll start with Cam. He says, Bonjour, Sleeves. I'm from New Brunswick. I love the content. Keep up the good work and the grind. I'm a newish dad as well. Not a question, more of a comment. At 4:45 in your last Who Should You Choose video, you said you were going to do the tier list for both weeks after once all the cards are out. I'd be on board if it was last year. However, this year we can't make week 1 cards in week 2 at the moment. They disappear after week 1. It would have been a lot better for me in the NHL community if you could do a week 1 and week 2 separately. So we have the chance to make one based on your tier list, thoughts, recommendations. Been watching since NHL 19. God, what a journey it's been. Have a good one. I agree. I'm a dum-dum, and I realized this on stream. Someone said the same thing. So, yes, going forward, all events will have a tier list. I have the fantasy one that will be coming out tomorrow morning before the next episode of Who Should You Choose. So don't worry. Week 2 of the fantasy event, I'll have you covered. Kryptonite says, hey, Sleeves, I was just wondering if there was a setting or something that only shows online stats. I just don't want to see my bloated stats from grinding rookie squad battles for objectives. Thanks a lot for all the help and the best to you and your family. Appreciate that, buddy. Unfortunately, no. MLB The Show, there's literally a tab. You can click offline or online stats. They have improved. I want to say they added like storage space or something, whether it's server size or because this year they save and track so much more data. Like you guys don't think about this, but just from conversations I've had with developers, the fact that they save like the leaderboards and you can see like face-off percentage for like 100 games or all your games and whatnot. They definitely improved the size of it because I know that was an issue and why there wasn't a leaderboard for a while. It's just simply if you save all the data from like 40 million games or whatever, it just causes an issue. But now it looks like they fixed something or added something. So I hope in the future, that is a big thing of mine too. I can't stand that. It really sucks. This is a late comment, but I just want to add the fact that I probably have about 10 hours or so to really enjoy a game. I thoroughly enjoyed having the ability to go through, play some games with Caps players, players of the week, and Supernatural cards. Also, was able to nearly dump all my fodder into a random fantasy and got Petrangelo, and then I built Forsling, lifelong Panthers fan. Playing since 94, this old man is having fun this year, and the first year I've had a fantasy card at the beginning of the year, much less too. We have dogged the content team all year. A lot of it was deserved, in my opinion. I think that the way they came out of the gates just didn't seem planned. It looked like much of before. I will say, though, you have to celebrate the W's. The fantasy event this year, it is my favorite event every year. It has been since the inception. My man Nicholas, who no longer works with EA, he was the one that kind of made up the fantasy event. When that event came out, it's always my favorite because EA has no control. Once these cards are out, they can set it low enough, like the overalls and Nuka card, whatever. But once they're out, we can get Duchesne in January, 99 in January. They have no control, which I love. I think that's hilarious. 2, it gets you to watch games that you normally wouldn't. Or maybe it just gets you to watch hockey in general. You know, as I've gotten older, it's so weird. I've watched less and less hockey every year. You know, it's just harder to find 3 hours a night, you know. But it... You know, when there's days where, you know, the Panthers are on and you're not a Panthers fan, right? And you're going to throw on, you know, the 40th episode of Grey's Anatomy that your wife's made you watch in the last 3 weeks. You know, instead, maybe you throw up the Panthers game on your phone. You know, like that's why I love the fantasy event. This year, they gave you 2 for free. Like, I don't remember a time that EA, during one of its biggest events, has ever done anything like that. The 16 B&D set, yeah, you could have been hosed for each one. But they still gave you 2 cards. And they also made the ability to make any card you want. We've never had that. I just think it was a big W. The choices are always going to be subjective. I think Week 2's base items were a pretty big letdown. They went with a lot of guys that just aren't interesting. Like I mentioned, my video will state that, but like Eric Halla. Like the Devils have so many. I would have rather had them had Jacob Markstrom and just gone with a goaltender. Like that would have been exciting. Anyways, that's but I'm glad that you're having fun, man. There are some positives with the content structure from this game. Ace Slaves, I'm a free to play player. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger for you. No, I can't. Can I make it bigger? Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're good. Hey, Slaves, I'm a free-to-play player. I took your advice and I made the 16 fantasy set. I got Mason Marchment. Really excited. I think he'll be a monster towards the end of the game if he can remain healthy and score about 20 goals. 100%. I said this in my video. I think I ranked him in the A tier simply because it'll take a lot for him to get to 99, but if he does, he's probably the best fantasy card. Hey, Slaves, when is your strategies video coming out? My man? Go watch it. It's on the channel. Give it a like. I'd really appreciate it. But I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope it helps. I think that this year's my strategies video, I went as detailed as I could, regardless of the type of player you are. I went all the way to like controller settings, and then I showed, about 10 plays offensively that you can do using my strategies with examples that I think is going to elevate your game, especially if you're in the lower divisions or you're just getting started. Do we know when the third tier of the daily hat trick cards come out? I got the Robin Leonard card, and I remember seeing cool card art for tier 3 during early access, but I now just finished up the 25 collectibles, need to level them up. Can't access the third tier at all. No, and I haven't really heard any comms on this. Here's my guess. When the next event has a higher overall. So the highest overall is 85 overall master set items. So Supernatural's been 85, Cover Athlete's been 85, the daily hat trick cards go up to 83. When they have an event that goes to 86, that would signify like the next level up in progression. That would be my guess of when that tier unlocks. And when it comes to the MSP art, we're probably not seeing that until like 90 overall or like 88. I don't know. I hope we get it sooner than later because it actually looks sick. I accidentally traded my Master Set Matheson card into a set. I'm seeing a lot of this, guys. If you packed, I'm going to finish the question in a second. If you finish a fantasy set and you get someone like John Carlson, like myself, and you can't use them for 2 months, okay, you need to hide them somewhere. One option is the team builder sets. Like, just go put them into the Washington Capitals team builder set. That way, no matter what, this doesn't happen because the menus are so slow and laggy that I'm doing the autofill start, autofill triangle, all that. I'm doing that so much. I've brought up, and so is every other game changer, the storage set needs to come back. I would guess when they do the first real update for improvements to 25, not stuff fixing day zero stuff like tech issues like that, they'll add it back in. Again, just an oversight. I don't know why we don't have a storage set. But apparently the Matheson set card I got the other day got put in there without me noticing. I can't believe the game just lets me do that without a warning. Like, I know it's my fault, but when I spam the set 8 times, it's easy to miss. I'm with you, dude. Like, I know it's my fault, or sorry, I have no money spent, so this really blows. Do you know if EA can help me do anything? I'm assuming not. I spent 400,000 coins I had saved up and cards I had been saving as well, 40 collectibles. I'm a Habs fan too. Basically, everything I've been saving since launch is just gone now. At least I got Sanheim from the random one. Okay, so EA Help is really the only place you can go. And, like, unfortunately, like, it's never going to be guaranteed, and half the time you're talking to what seems to be a bot. Reach out to EA Help and send me a screenshot on Twitter with your, like, hey, I'm Derek Coops, and I reached out to EA Help, and it didn't work. It's not going to be instant. They'll get back to you. If they say no, then shoot me a message. I don't want to make this a standard, guys. I don't really have any other pull. Like, there's nothing really I can do. You have to go to EA Help, but every once in a while I might be able to be like, to go right to the developer if they're, but again, I don't want to set that as a standard. I have no idea if they would even answer me, especially this year. So do your due diligence. Go to EA Help if you've lost a card like this. They can see that you lost the card and how you used it. So I don't see why they wouldn't give it. It's just not going to be instant. They'll take a week. I don't know. Hey, Slaves, I don't know what the issue is, but last year I was in Division 2, middle ground player for most of the year. This year I'm Div 3 with a round 5 and 25 record, and I am almost in Division 4. This game seems way harder for some reason. Edit question 2. I don't know if this is a thing for the strategies video, but I have full behind the net, but in-game it defaults lines 2 to 4 to overload. That's very odd. I would go in and manually switch all lines to behind the net. I wouldn't use overload this year. I just don't think they intercept passes too well, and you need to kind of pass into the middle for overload or go for tip shots. They're not as effective. That being said, every year, guys, the player base gets better. It's just a reality of the situation. Like players like myself, when I release a strategies video, it will make Division 6 players better. I'm not saying I'm going to make you a top 100 HUT champs player. I'm not a top 100 champs player. I think I can help people get there, but I'm not the same player, right? But you have Polgs, he streams, best player in the world, little reigning world champion. You have all of the top end players streaming, making content. And it just, we live in an era where we struggle at a video game and immediately Google how to score more, right? Like back when when the Gaming World Championship first started, back in NHL 18, I remember NHL 19, a lot of the competitors hadn't started streaming yet. And you would go to, I'll never forget this. You go to the Canadian Regional. I went to the Canadian Regionals. I remember Nuke, who no one knew because he was on the West Coast. He would score this goal that everyone would go on to call the Nuke shot. It was a low blocker shot. And everyone was like, oh, we don't know how to defend this. Like, this is like, no one does this. And then all of a sudden, now everyone does it, right? So it's access to information. Everyone is the best they've ever been. And now even more with like D2D one-timers, the game is simplified in NHL 25. It's very easy to defend. In my video, I'll show you how to defend the D2D one-timers. But with D2D one-timers, it is, and just one-timers in general, it is a little bit more simple than prior years. So just if you're struggling that hard, eventually you will get back to where you usually are. It shakes out. Early on in the year, man, I struggled to get even into like the middle of Division 2, and I end up Division 1 every year. Wildcard feels like a chore. I don't know. I'm trying to think of how to make Wildcard more impactful, because you go one of two ways. Either you make it not competitive, or you make it super competitive like it is in MLB The Show. In MLB The Show, the BR mode, what is Wildcard, is very, very, it's like their HUT champs. It's very difficult to get max rewards because that's where all the best players go. I think the best way to make Wildcard effective would be to just let us use great cards all the way through. Cards we would never get the options to. Like, put all the Master Set players that are out that week in there. Make all of the locked cards in the bottom 6, like the 82 event cards. I think that would go a long way, because then at least we're trying out cards that we wouldn't use. Like, if you had to play 20 games or get 20 wins or however many games it takes to get the path done, right? And you got to try out along the way Draisaitl or Tage Thompson, and maybe you weren't going to make them, but you play all of the wildcard games, you're like, man, this card is nails. Now it forces you to be like, okay, I got to go make this card. I think that's how you make wildcard the best, it is. Everyone's just playing it for the rewards and not the actual gameplay, and that's an overall issue with sports games in general. I've talked about this a lot. Like, if you're just playing the game for the rewards, then that's a job, right? Like, that's literally the definition of a job. You're just going to work to get your paycheck. And I've said that a lot, and obviously you shouldn't be handed things, because then everyone would have god squads and all of that, but there needs to be like a dynamic there. But it does need to be changed. The skill-based matchmaking in wildcard, it should work exactly like HUT champs. However many games you've won in a row, you match people that have that many wins in a row. Pretty simple, And then when you get up into like the 5 to 7, then there's a cap, like people that have won 5 games in a row, or people that have won 4 games in a row, right? And then every time that you keep going, you just keep, I think that's how you fix it. Slaves, a big fan of your content since NHL 19. Is it just me, or does anyone else miss the old division systems of the previous NHLs? I used to love playing online and working my way up 10 divisions. I felt that there was a general adjustment you had to make throughout the divisions to improve your game, and that there was a healthy divide between those of us who were great at the game and those of us who just wanted to hop on and play a game or two. Another thing I missed of the old NHLs was the collection system. Collecting all of the base items for a team reward would net you packs based on the difficulty of the collection. Do you think these would ever return, or would be good or bad based on the current NHL? Keep up the great work. I have said this for years now, that there needs to be collection rewards. Like, I think a great idea that you brought up about the packs from prior years. If you complete the Edmonton Oilers, that means you have to get base Connor McDavid. I think that should give you Wayne Gretzky. Or like a different one, not the hologram one, but the team builder Wayne Gretzky. Okay, let's say, and he's the highest overall rated because the Oiler collection is the hardest to get. Let's say, right? And then what would also be sick is if you complete it again, you get packs based on how difficult it is, right? So that way, every card that you get that's a base card would be viable into a set that's worth it. Now, technically, you can do that with team builders, but the way team builders will work, I don't think. I don't know. I don't like it because it's 77 and above items instead of just every card from that team. It's not collecting, it's using a currency, right? I'm with you on that. The division thing, there's an argument because like Rivals is technically instead of 10 divisions, there's 6. I miss that it was so simple and streamlined, right? You could go, I think it's what, 300 points in between each division. I get to 1900 in Division 2 and I'm not leaving Division 2. Like I'm not going to lose enough games to get to Division 3 and I'm not going to win enough games in a row to get to Division 1 eventually. But like that's just it's too much. Like it's not, I know what the division thing is. I still am waiting for a sports ultimate team to make like a regular season where it's like, okay, now I'm playing in the Stanley Cup. And now it's like, here's round 1 of the playoffs, and you match up with people that are in round 1 of the playoffs. And then if you win, you get a banner. It's, the little things. I miss franchise mode. I'm old, and I wish that they would include more features of franchise mode into Hockey Ultimate Team. This is why I annihilate my entire collection every fantasy event. I put on ESPN Plus and watch the games while I play. I want as many fantasy cards as possible to have the most horses in the race. With that being said, I traded in 16 for my random and got theme team Nito Rider. I'm an Islanders fan. Hey, Nino scored a couple. I'm with you. This is why it's my favorite event as well. I'll give you this. Like I always bring this up is that I remember every time I'd go, I used to have season tickets for the Ice Dogs before I became co-host of their post game show. Like I would go to the games and my phone would blow up about Duchesne and just Nashville clips, and no one was watching Nashville. No, I love Nashville the city, and I don't mind the team, but like no one's watching them outside of the Predators fans, right? I love that. And when a card gets close, like Doughty last year, or man, one of the big misses of the fantasy event, I will say, is that there's no other leagues. Like, man, I really wish that we would have gotten a Kevin Heat card. But I mean, that's a little bit of me wishful thinking and being a little biased. But we should have gotten Porter Martone or Luke Misa, like the best OHLer. I think that that's big for those leagues. The best way to truly keep enjoying this game is to forget about being a completionist. You will never come even close to getting all the MSPs, best cards, etc. Choose a handful of cards you truly like and then choose those. In the end, it's way more satisfying to get all of the cards you are aiming for than the disappointment and stress of not being able to compete everything each week. So you know what's funny? It's so simple to say that. And I've been trying to figure out why it's not the case. Because personally, take away me being a content creator, and I've really put a focus on the last few years on the casual player, because that's 90% of the player base, right? Meanwhile, I'm technically the most hardcore, and everyone that watches my content, regularly, you guys are hardcore fans of the game, and you play a lot of it. But I try to make it, there's so many people that just rarely play the game, and I try to keep that lens in mind. And I think that if you lose, you get so frustrated that you want to just keep playing until you win. And it's the same thing in Call of Duty, I think, as well. And I don't know how to fix that, because when it comes to Ultimate Team, you just want to be like, I can't use these cards because they're not competitive enough, right? And then the alternative would be just use your favorite cards and lose more. But the mentality is I hate losing. We all hate losing. And I don't know how to fix that fully. MLB does a great job because there's so many cards, and I can use a full team of Boston Red Sox and be fine, because in MLB, a 99 overall player doesn't mean that you're going to dominate everyone. If you can't hit a ball on Hall of Famer legend, you're not going to win. Doesn't matter if you have 99s or 45 overall players. NHL may be a little bit different, but 100% you will enjoy the game more. Guys, I didn't play Hut Champs this week. It's the second week of Hut Champs. I'm the the Hut content creator that you guys come and watch. I grind the game. I do all these things. I had so many videos I had to get done and stream some other stuff, and all the objectives and moments I had to finish for no money spent in my team and whatnot, that I was like, I'm not playing Hut Champs this week. I went out to the pumpkin patch with my family today. I could have been like, yo, I got to play 20 games of Hut Champs today. And I was just like, nah. And that's because the rewards aren't very good, right? But the guaranteed my green, it's like, you see the card that's guaranteed, and it's like, if I miss it, whatever, But before, it's like, dude, I can't miss that card. I'm screwed. My team's going to be behind for weeks now. Like, what do I do? And I think that that's just going to be a balance that we're going to have to work on. that's going to do it for this episode of Who Should You Choose? Almost said no money spent. Thank you guys again for watching. And yeah, again, please, if you haven't watched it yet, please check out my strategies video. I'd really appreciate it. Let me know what you think. You know, if there's something I missed or some other stuff that you'd like me to cover. I will be doing a face-off video. That'll be my next generalized tip video. A lot of people have asked you for my face-off video. It's something I am elite at, so I definitely can help there. But anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.